Julie, thank you very much. What I really appreciate is not only your personal devotion and passion around this subject, but the fact that you've brought this subject to EIF, which gives the very valuable EIF events that we've been participating in for a few years a really new and fresh feel and something different to focus on. Thank you for that, and thank you for inviting ESOA. I had prepared a few points that I wanted to share, but in fact I would like to respond a little more to what Roberto has said. Of course, we know the problem, lack of money, lack of infrastructure, lack of security, lack of electricity when it comes to the developing world. I'm sure there's many more. I'm not a development expert. And when it comes to satellite solutions, with one satellite you can cover a third of the world's surface. So that means there really is no excuse for being remote or isolated or on an island or anywhere on the planet really, apart from the North or the South Pole, but even there are solutions for not having connectivity to the internet, for having telephony, for having TV, for having access to all of these digital and media services. Satellite is contributing in many different fields, whether it's education in terms of basic literacy or training for universities, or even for farmers, rural farmers in Africa, in Asia, or what have you, whether it's health and disease management, supporting the ongoing problems from the Ebola crisis, whether it's the democratic process, elections and the security around that, and the ability to have as many voices participating as possible. Or even, as we've heard, small businesses and microfinance, which is such a key enabler for women and for gender equality as well. We see all of these kind of solutions being enabled by satellite services and satellite operators all around the world. When it comes to CSR, that is less the case with the operators. You see that more in emergency situations, but not necessarily in longer-term development situations. But what I wanted to say, Roberto, is that in all the case studies that I planned to talk about here, I will keep it extremely brief, I couldn't find any which was funded by the European Union. And I think this is a real shame. The satellite sector in itself is a European success story. This continent is home to the world's largest, most successful satellite operators, manufacturers and launchers. Independently, the European Union is the world's largest donor. Why is it we don't see any solutions which are both from the satellite sector and the European Union funding mechanisms? Why do we not see that? A few years ago there was an initiative from DG INFSO at the time, now DG Connect, to galvanize the ICT community into a dialogue around development. It was in participation with DevCo. But unfortunately we saw it turning into a 2 or 3 year polemic rather than resulting in concrete projects, even pilot projects. And we also saw an ambition from the Commission at large to provide a big solution which included every sector, rather than looking for quick, implementable, practical solutions that might be based on one technology or another. We see so many examples of tiny, small projects, local projects, which are making a massive difference. If we could just duplicate them in every African country, in every Latin American country, in every Asian country, the world would see a massive change. It doesn't need to be a big project with a big sum of money behind it. You can make a difference with very little as well. To come to a couple of examples, I'm replacing Kumar Singaraja from Avanti Communications. Avanti is a satellite operator that has been connecting schools in Tanzania and Kenya for enabling radio programs for farmers as well. So they go in with one mission, but they find that the technology can actually have an impact on so many more things that weren't planned, that you see all these diversified little projects coming out of it. So as I said, radio programs for farmers, e-training for electoral management bodies, e-learning for rural schools, and what have you. Another one is World Reader, which is I'm not sure if it's an NGO or a company. It really doesn't matter. I know they don't have much money, but they are rolling out e-readers to schools in order to make a difference to literacy. And you need very little data to be able to download a book from the internet. They want to do it via mobile phones. They find obviously there's not always coverage, so they look to satellite, which gives you a direct connection to the internet. And small projects in little villages making a big difference. Finally, what you can see in the brochure, it's on page 9 of the very nice EIF leaflet, is RASCOM, one of my members, who is doing something called smart backhauling. So they go into villages. The latest one is in Congo, and they build the mobile base station, which normally you would expect the mobile operator to be building. But for the MNO community, this is one of the big challenges, which is the cost of building these base stations. So I have an example of one satellite operator who's actually assuming that cost. They are securing that. They're building the base station, securing it, because obviously security and theft is a big issue there. They're putting big solar panels into place to overcome the electricity problem, and then you see the emergence of a small business, a little guy with a table who's got a car battery, and he's selling SIM cards, he's allowing people to charge their phones, he's repairing their phones, and you know, all the advertisements on the photos, you see the orange logo everywhere. We are working with you. And when we went to see the ITU Secretary General, he said, why are you making so much publicity for Orange? We said, well, because we work together. It is a GSM solution, but what people never realize is it's not possible without the satellite backhaul, because you're in a remote area and you don't have all the links back to the internet and to the base stations. So voila, just a quick snapshot of how satellite makes a difference, some of the issues that we face, need to find ways of working better with the European Union, mobilizing some of that funding to make a difference on the ground. Look forward to working with you. Thank you.